Well, good evening and welcome to the Bear's Den, my little studio here in my home. And this evening I thought I would take a moment and just kind of play through some chord changes. There's an old song called I Remember April, and it has nice chord changes. If you've ever heard the song, it's really a nice tune. I tell you what, best way to discuss the chord changes are with a chordal instrument. So. That's the first part. Second part, then it repeats the A section again. Very nice little tune, right? And so I've actually I've enjoyed playing this for a long time. There was a guy, pretty well-known guitar player by the name of Clint Strong, that I used to play some with, and Clint was an interesting guy, one of the most gifted musicians I've ever known, and he played that song a lot. And I really didn't know much about that tune until I learned it from Clint. So he kind of got me interested in it. So let's take a look at the melody here. Now the second part. First part again. So just kind of blowing through the melody. So then just play with the chords. Something like that. Anyhow, so I don't know how everyone else does as far as their practice schedules go, but I tend to practice in the evenings a lot. And then if I have time in the morning, I'll play as well. I find practicing is kind of like exercise physically, because if you can practice throughout the day at different times, in other words, keeping a regular practice time. So let's talk about two things. Keeping a regular practice time develops a habit of practicing every day, which is a fantastic thing to do. But if you're a person like me that likes to practice all the time anyhow, as I thoroughly enjoy actually practicing, in that case, then what I have found out is that, keep your regular time, but also play different times throughout the day. It keeps you from getting mentally pre-programmed to play better at a different time of the day than another, right? So if sometimes you play in the morning, sometimes the afternoon, sometimes the evening, sometimes 3 or 4 different little spots throughout the day, you're not pre-programming yourself mentally to always be more attuned to your music at a specific time. So that's one of those things that I like to at least consider whenever I'm playing. And of course, for me, practicing is an interesting thing because I like to work on jazz improv because jazz is that's my first love musically, right? I love jazz, but I also love bluegrass music and I love fiddle tunes and hoedowns, and also really like classical music too. Yeah, but for me, the jazz is the big thing. But I like it all, and I find that it's also interesting if you're going to practice throughout the day to vary it up. Maybe play the Bach partitas or something at one point in time. That's some of my favorite stuff to practice. It's classical. I call it classical. I guess it may be Baroque. I'd have to, that's the classical term is one that we kind of loosely throw around to encompass a huge genre of music, but it's actually a little bit more specific of a term than what most people realize. So, but we'll get into that now. So, anyhow, orchestral. Okay, we'll say that. But you can work on that stuff and maybe work on sight reading, and that's another good thing. There was a point in time in my life that I would sight read for about an hour a day every day. And then I would practice for another 2 or 3 hours on top of that. But I'd always start my practicing with sight reading because that's a very useful skill to have for some jobs for sure, especially if you make a living playing. So that's not a bad thing. Also, learning all your double stops. And there's a Miles Davis tune that I particularly like. It's called All Blues. So that's a kind of a little pass at that one. Now my favorite tune, and it's kind of funny. I say my favorite. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that you have a specific favorite tune, but it is one of my favorite tunes for sure. And maybe at one time I would say that it was my all-time favorite recording, and it was an old tune called "Stella by Starlight," and I love this old song. Um, nice chord changes. Nice tune, right? Nice chord changes. And there's a version of that song that is the 1958 recording of Miles Davis with John Coltrane, I think Cannonball Adderley, maybe Paul Chambers. I don't remember who the drummer is. Could have been Philly Joe or some one of those. I don't know who was playing with Miles at that time. He had kind of a roster of musicians that he would go through, and depending upon what what era of his music that you might be listening to would be kind of determine who those guys were. And that was such a well-known recording. I probably should know who that is. Sadly, I don't. But anyhow, such a beautiful melody. And I've heard Tony Bennett sing this before. It's beautiful. Such a nice tune. All right. Well, anyhow, I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Things here are nice in the Ozarks, and it's a great place to live, actually. I love living here. So I'm digressing, but anyhow, I hope everyone has a great, wonderful day, and get out there and practice, and just enjoy the music, because the music is such a wonderful thing. It makes life a better, makes the world a better place, makes life better. Okay, y'all have a good one. Talk to you next time.